Press this here.
Yep.
All right, well, thanks, guys. Just wanted to run through, how I got started here and kind of take you from day one and all the way forward. Yes. QSM, that is a Qualified Storage Manager's License. It's just like the CSSM, but it's for a different organization. So that's kind of how I got started. I took the QSM course. It was a series of 15 webinars, just like the CSSM. And at the end of each webinar, you take a test. They'd go from marketing to management to maintenance to, every issue that you're ever going to encounter with a storage facility. So took that first. After I got done with Scott, I took the QSM course, and then that helped me not only analyze properties, but finance them and manage them after I owned them. So that's kind of how I got started. It was a toss-up. It was basically the same course. It was the same course. It was just two people offered it, and it really was a help. And I would suggest it for anybody that's really serious in this. And Scott has it, and Kevin, and things like that. So, how I found it: I sent out a mailer. I did exactly what Scott said to do. Followed his plan. Sent out a mailer to the state of Indiana, which Scott, got most of the good deals there. But then I went on to the state of Illinois because it was close. I had family there. I had friends. I knew the area pretty well. So I sent out a mailer. I got lucky. I found it on my first mailer. And I used Scott's template that he's given you in the home study course, and it really does get responses. What I do suggest is you use, a virtual assistant or somebody like that to mail out your mailers for you. Write in blue pen always, and always, hand address them and things like that. You're going to get a lot better response. Postcards and printed and things like that, your response will go down. Initial conversation, I like to have that prospecting fact sheet ready that Scott gives you. You want to have that so when you're answering questions, you never forget anything. The conversation just kind of flows, and you're going to have to, learn how to do that. And it's going to take a couple times and practice it with somebody else on the phone, but eventually you're going to get really comfortable. I was nervous early on talking with owners and things like that, but eventually, you feel really comfortable and you're able to get pretty much any piece of information you want from the owner. And you'll ask a lot of open-ended questions and things like that just to dig in to what the seller wants, what's his motivation. And before you even do that, you kind of want to introduce yourself to him, tell him what you're about, build some credibility with him, things like that. So you're going to have to do a business deal with somebody. You want them to like you because it's going to be a lot better, a lot easier to do business with somebody that likes you. Like I said, asking open-ended questions, the whys, hows, things like that. You really just want to keep the seller talking and make sure you're taking notes, because the more information you have on anybody, the easier it is going to be when you start negotiating and things like that. I usually try to get the seller's email address and send a follow-up thank you email, just gracious, nothing serious, and then maybe attach a credibility letter if you have something like that, or if you're a member of a mentoring program or coaching program like Scott has, the credibility kits and he gives you, because those really do let the owner's guard down, and they're willing to negotiate and deal with you because they know you're serious, they know you're not a tire kicker, and you're going to do a deal. And then you have the due diligence list and some other pieces of information that you're going to send him as well to get. Initial research. I like to call around the facilities. I called the facility that was being offered for sale, acted like I was a customer, seeing what their thoughts were as far as the sales process. Did they answer the phone properly? Did they hang up on me? Did they not get my name? Did they get my phone number? Did they answer during lunch hours? Did they return voicemails? Things like that. Those are all things that you want to look at, and hopefully they're not doing any of those things, because then there's what? There's upside. So the least amount of things they do as far as a management standpoint, the better for you, because you can improve on those, and really it's a really easy value add play. Took a market facility, a market survey, how many facilities are in the area, got an Odessa report, but that was farther down the line. I just simply started calling around and asking, hey, how you doing? Introduce yourself as a customer first, and then later on you can try to get the owner on the phone. But first as a customer, seeing how their occupancies are. And everybody there was 90, basically full. Everybody had, was completely full. They couldn't give me a space, and I said, you know what? Wow. My guy's only 65% occupied. There can be some upside here. And then eventually I got the owners on the phone and started building some rapport with them as well. Like I said about the negotiation, and you want to have that relationship with them, and you want to find out what's important to the seller. I'm doing a deal right now. I'm going to be closing next month, and they just wanted a passive return because they own the property free and clear. They don't want to pay taxes. They want somebody that's going to run their business and treat their property with respect that they've owned for 25 years. So price isn't really that important to them. They just want, they want to save on their taxes. They want to get a good monthly income with a good solid interest rate and be secure that somebody's going to respect their property and take care of something that they've owned for this long. And then you also kind of want to be tactful and see how much the seller owes. By the way, Mr. Seller, do you have any idea of how much you owe? Because if you can find that, it's going to help you negotiate a lot easier. And and then when you know that, say they own it free and clear, would you be interested in holding some financing if we were able to work something out where we could save you some taxes or something like that? So just more open-ended questions, and the more information you can get, the better. More negotiating points here and things like that. You want to look at other comparable properties and see how those have sold in the past and things like that. And also, use an expert analysis. Say, look, this is what properties are doing. This is why. Show them something on paper, and then it's going to help you negotiate better. I like to use a good guy, bad guy strategy where it's, I'm always the good guy and there's somebody else who's the bad guy. You can use that for anything. Yes, it's like a car dealership. You go in and they got to go check with the guy in the back and see if that's okay. There is no guy in the back. He doesn't exist. They go back and twiddle their thumbs or do whatever they do, but he doesn't exist because they want to like you. And the more you like them, the easier it is to do a deal with you. And I also, during the negotiation, you're going to have to, going back and forth on something. And if he asks for something, always try to get something in return. Several different situations can prepare you for that. So, and then, you also, whether you're going to or not, you might know it's a smoking hot deal and you're asking for things, but you want to project the image that you're willing to walk away if the deal doesn't make sense. Because if the owner and the seller, they know you're going to walk away, that's going to make them give in and kind of go to your demands and things like that. So you always want to keep that mindset and never get too attached to a deal. And that's what I did here. And then you got to have a win-win situation because, that's what you want. You want both people to be happy in the end. And like I said, you have to have somebody there to help you along the way. Scott was there for me. His support program that I was in was unbelievable. He was able to, answer all my questions rather quickly. I mean, right away, getting anything I needed. And his information that he provided me was, invaluable and saved me thousands upon thousands of dollars. And, you got more, and then you're going to start your due diligence phase, and that's getting more information and things like that. This could be after you have it under contract or before, either or. And, you're going to want to get those trailing 12 months numbers, just like Scott has been mentioning. Put together a pro forma on how you're going to operate it. Their expenses aren't going to be what your expenses are going to be. They're going to be a little different. They're going to say, yeah, $1,000 for maintenance here or $1,000 there. But really, it's going to be 15 cents a square foot. But they're not telling you that. But a bank's going to make you put that in. Yeah, their advertising is $100 or they're managing it themselves and they don't have a management fee, but you're going to have one. So you got to factor in your expenses, not their expenses. And then, you're going to want to put some projections together on where you can take the property. Hey, here I am today. I'm at 65%. My competitors are at 90%, okay? This is where I'm going to be a year from now. This is where I'm going to be 2 years from now. And this is why I'm going to be there. Why I'm going to be at 90% in 3 years is because every competitor in the market is at 90%. So put together the projections, but make them realistic. I mean, don't say you're going to fill this thing up at 95% if the market's at 80% or something like that. And then you can do more research on your competitors, getting more information about the market, and so forth. And then what I like to do is I always like to go to the Chamber of Commerce or research the city, talk with some high-end commercial brokers. My manager I got for this facility was recommended from one of the contacts I made in the city during my due diligence process, and been super lucky there. So, just networking and being a mainstay in the community and starting to get to know as many people as you can, that helped me along the way. Due diligence, in the home study course, it's on page 91, chapter 9. It's the outline of every piece of information you need. And if you can get that to the seller, probably after you get it under contract, as long as you're feeling good about it, because if you give it to them before, they might flake out on you and say, wow, I didn't know I was going to get all this information. But you kind of got to explain it and say why you need these things. I'm here to help you. This is going to make this process go faster and easier. It would be, greatly help us get this deal to the closing tables so you can get what you want and I get what I want.